Hey, let's now dive into today's topic where we are going to build a robust REST API with Spring Boot using WebFlux, R2DBC, Micrometer, Zipkin. I'm going also to go ahead and show you guys how to use the Grafana, and also Postgres. And don't forget that we are going also to keep using our Docker Composer here. So please, let's start. Okay guys, let's start. Now in this project, we are going to use our Maven. I'm also going to go ahead and use Java's language. The name, I'm just going to use CodeCraft, the REST API. I'm also going to use Java 21. Now let's start adding our dependencies. We are going to add web. This time we are not going to add the Spring Web, but I'm going to use a WebFlux for reactive programming. This is Spring Reactive Web. I'm also going to go ahead and add R2DBC for non-blocking database access. I'm also going to add Micrometers. Remember, I told you we are going to use for tracing, we are going to use Zipkin. I'm also going to add just Lombok. After Lombok, I'm going to go ahead and add Docker Composer. After that Docker Composer, we are going to add Postgres as our database and Grafana tracing all that. So let's start. Our project is now open. So this one now we are going to add our database. Let's go to Docker Compose. So for Docker Compose, at this point we have Postgres. We have our database name. I'm going to call it customer_db. Secrets, the password is secret. The username, I can leave it user. And the port I'm going to is 5432. I'm also going to point the same thing on Jenkins, the same one, outside port 1124. Yeah. So now what we need to do here in our service, we need to add Prometheus, and also I need to add Grafana. Okay, I've added Prometheus and I've also added Grafana. So what I've added here, this is the container name or service name. This is the image, okay, which we are going to pull inside the prompt.prometheus. And also I've configure it to always to enable communication with a host machine, extra host with a host machine. And also we are going to be accessing the Prometheus is accessible on this port 99. It's going to be localhost 9090. Okay, I've added more configurations here. Let me just delete this. Yeah, so I've added some configurations. You can see I've added the prompt. I've made it enable. I'm not disabled it, but I made it as true. So this enable readiness liveness prompt in health endpoints, which are useful for Kubernetes health check. And also I've put the probability for tracing sampling to 1.0. Set sampling probability for tracing to maybe to 100%. Meaningful, all the requests will be traced. This is useful for development. And also the metrics, I've enabled it. This is to ensure the metrics endpoint is enabled. Can keep allowing the metrics to be exposed for monitoring. Also, detail always configure for health endpoint to already show the detailed information which can be useful for debugging, but should be secured in production. You don't need everyone to know the health, of the detailed health of your endpoints, all that, or for your service. Okay, so that is one of the things you should know. This now for tracing and metric configurations. Okay, so this one expose all management endpoints such as health metrics and trace over the web. And also this one also expose the metric Prometheus. And this one, the one I put 5S, it's set for frequency for exposing metric for Prometheus to every 5 seconds. Okay. Docker Composer app, our service should be up and start running. All these services are going to be up. Create our customer model and repository to create customer. Now it's time to create our customer repository, which is going to be an interface. It's going to extend Reactive code repository, which is really, it's a Spring Data interface which provide create, read, update and delete operations in a reactive manner, which really leverage project reactor. Like we are going to get been using like flags, monotypes for synchronous and non-blocking operations. Then I'm going to add customer, which is the entity type, and I'm going to add long, which is a type of our entity ID. We're going to create a controller which we are going to call customer controller. So first we are going to add REST controller, and I'm going to also to add a request mapping, which here I'm going to map it to customer, our service. So I'm just going to go here and create customer service. The customer service, so this adds service indicates that this class is a service component in Spring Boot context. So I'm going also to use the require argument constructor. This comes from Lombok, which is automatically generated constructor for our final field. Customer repository. I'm going to create an endpoint which is going to make us getting all our customers. So that endpoint is going to come. We are also going to come and call here private final, which is now I'm going to call our customer service, because now we need now to call our customer service, because our customer service is a service object to handle the business logic, which has all our gets all customer. Let me just make it to be void. Get customers. So this is a simple endpoint, which the real sense of this endpoint should get all our customers. So you can see here there is a error, which yes, it's saying we have to add a constructor, but now we are going to use also here at require argument constructor from Lombok, which is going to help us to generate a constructor with require argument field final. So I'm going to, it's here, so boom, done. So then this is going to be just a get mapping and use flags here. So I'm going to go and say rather than this, let me just say return. I'm going to return customer service dot get all customers. So all customers we haven't implemented, we are going to implement it shortly, but this is going to be flags because it's going to return it's kind of a list. It's going to be flags. Okay, flags of what is going to return up? It's going to be flags of customer, flags customers. So now let's go ahead and implement this service. So add inside there. So I'm just going to make it return customer service dot find all. Now that is all about. Let's go back and run our project. So our project, let's wait. You can see everything is gone. So that project has started. So I'm going to use Postman. I'm going to use Postman to test. So this is a Postman collection, localhost customer. So this one I'm going to say get customers. Boom. You see we have an error here. Let's see what the error is saying. It's saying execute many bad SQL grammar customer. Then we go down. We go I say relationship customer does not exist. To write a SQL statement, and I'm going to tell you all about it. So that is, so now the PG which is PG passwords is set environment variable for the Postgres password to the secret which we have. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to create that table. Create a table if not exists, customer. This is the name of that table which we are going to create. So after that, let's execute this. Wow, the table is already created. So now if you come back here and you make again that request, you see before it was giving us internal server. So if I make it now, boom, good. You see that table is already created. Go ahead and create now the endpoint which is going to be able to save for us. That endpoint is going to be a post mapping. Public, what is it going to return? It's going to return mono of customer. Then I'm going to create customer. So what is it going to take? First we have one is we have a request body. Request body, which at this time we don't have the request. You can go and create, but I'm just going, you can have another way where you create a customer. Let me create a package, say request. I can call it customer request. I'm going to make it as a record. So I'm going to come here now, customer request. So now I'm going to come and import mono. What are we returning? Customer service dot create customer, which is going to take the request, which also we haven't created this part here. So we need to go back and create this. Zero argument but found 1 2 3 4 expect. Okay, oh yeah, so it's complaining just about actually what, yes, the constructor. Yeah, so I think then we need to come and add require at constructor. There's that no argument constructor. No, not actually argument. We need to say all, let's just call all argument constructors now. So after that we say customer. Good. So now if I go back here, I go back inside here, you see, boom. So let me run and see. Okay, let's try to insert someone in our database. I'm going to save this, then I'm going to come and replicate it. I'm going to come and say I'm just going to replicate this one here and call it, change the name, say create customer is a post, which body, it's raw JSON, which accept we have a first name, can say Calvin, second name, last name, China, Valeria, email jckevin@gmail.com. Yeah, so now that's what we have. Let's try to invoke this endpoint and we see. Good. Customer. Let's create another customer and we see. Next we need to do now, we need to come here and add another endpoint. So at this time we have get all our clients, our customers. Now what if now we go and say, okay, why can't we get now customer by ID? You know, that's now get mapping. I'm going to get customer by ID. That's a ID which a user is going to pass. Then I'm going to say public is going to be also mono. We are going to return a single object, a mono get customer by ID is a long on our end, that's ID which we save. Then we say return customer service dot gets by ID. This now also the same, we need to go back in our service in customer service. That means we are ready to go and start testing also when we are getting a customer by ID. So what I will do here, I will just come and rerun our, we have it here. So let me come and create now another endpoint. We name it get customer by ID 1. I'm getting 1. I want to get 1 customer by ID. I invoke. We are going to test our get mapping by ID. So what I'm going to do, I do get, I'm going to try to get 2, and boom, it's giving some error. Well, let's check the error. The error is say require identify blah blah blah. Oh, okay, we forgot inside here, we forgot our, which is ID, which is boom. So let's refresh. Let's refresh there and we see what we, boom. So I've got it. So I can even try number 3. Yeah, implement another endpoint here. It's going to, this time we are using put mapping for updating. What are we doing with, we're updating by what? The user is going to pass the ID. Then we are going to come and say public mono. We are returning a mono of customer. So now after that, what now we have, we are going to call return this method which is not yet there. I'm just going to come and create it. Okay, so now at this point, guys, if this is your first time visiting our YouTube channel, please subscribe. Don't forget to smash that like button so that YouTube can share this video with other people. Yeah, so now here we need first to get, we need first to find is the user which they are passing exists. Dot find by ID. We pass that ID. Then we need to get now that existing customer. So I will use a flat map. I will say existing customer. So now the existing customer which we are going now to receive is the one we are going to now to make sure we update, then we save it. So I'm running it there also. Yeah, so now we are going to update. So let's come and say we run another endpoint. We are going just to duplicate. Let me duplicate the post and say update customer. We are using put. Now we are updating by ID. So we update, boom, updated. Let's try to get, and we make sure gets all. See, Kevin is not there again, it's Mike. Now what if at this point we need to update a ID which does not exist? What will happen? Boom, you see, this is really bad. You know, this is really bad for clients. You have to pass a correct message. So now how can we do it here? So what we need to do here, we need to introduce, I'm going to introduce another method. I'm going to do a switch if it's empty. So if it's empty, I'm just going to say mono dot error. Now I need to create a custom error here. I'm going to say new dot custom not found exception. So this is run again, and we see we are running again, and we are going to see what is going to give us there. Application is running. Okay, let me now run number one. Boom, it's saying what is it saying now here? Could not found customer with ID. Yes, you see now. So now, rather than having what we have been having before, we are now having this message here which say that internal server error, but global exception, which is really good. So that you see, this one could not find a client customer with ID. So that's what we need to return. So I'm also going to go ahead and add global exception handler here. Global exception. The global exception handler is the one which is going to help us, and we're going to add all our exceptions inside here, and the user can see them. The first thing I'm going to add is I'm going to add at control advice, which allow handling exception globally across the whole application, the type of exception to be handled. Now, as you can see, the handle not found, this handle basically customer found not exist, and return the response error response mono.response, which this customer response is this what I've just created, and we are returning 4. Okay, so now let's run our application. Now let's run our application, and you are going to see what I've just said there. Okay, let's now try number one, which we don't have. Good, you see now this is the message. So you can customize the message on how you want it to be, and which kind of status you want to return here. So then next, now let's create the last endpoint, which is going to be now we need to make sure we delete a user. Okay, I will push this down, I come here and I add delete mapping. We are passing a ID public, this is just public mono, void delete customer at path variable dot long ID return customer service dot delete customer, which we haven't created. So now we are going to go and create this method here, which now inside our service, this is the one which is going to help us and delete a customer. Now it's the same with the upper one. We're just going to first, I'm going to do return customer repository dot find. We first find the ID, so that you can do this. We found the ID, blah blah blah. You can repeat all the logic, then you can maybe make sure after repeating all the logic, the client, the user deletes by ID, which I passed the ID. So this is all. Let's now come restart our application. So the application is started. Let's go and add the endpoint for deleting. Just replicate this endpoint here. So delete, we are going to use delete, and I'm going to delete number 2. So if I delete number 2, good, no message which we have. So let's go and see if number 2 has been deleted. Get all customers. Good, you have successfully created a REST API with WebFlux R2DBC. So now what we need now to do is to go now and check what our Zipkin saying. So this is our Zipkin. So remember, now we need to trace our application. So I can come and let me just run everything. But here you can set custom queries, the service name. You come and put your service name, and you can see how it has already detect my service. But you can explore this. Let me just run the query, and you see now this is our how our endpoint have been performing. So this is now how you can monitor your endpoint. Okay, you can see here this weight we have failed. You can go into this, you show more details, and you see here where we have customer not found. You see this error, and it's telling you the details, you know, the time the error happened and what's the error all about, you know, and it's really help you. It can really help you, and so that you understand. So the second one we have, though I'm not going to go deeper, Prometheus, I will just do localhost Prometheus. Good, you see now this is a Prometheus. It's a really this thing is really, guys, amazing. Look, we just simple this Docker composer, and read it more and understand how the graph work, all that, so you can understand really. The last one we have is Grafana. So Grafana, let me also open Grafana, guys. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Your like really help us and show us that you are enjoying our content.